Let's just dive right into this explainer, where we're going to unpack two seriously chilling stories that completely blur the line between supernatural horror and straight-up terrifying true crime. Now, on the surface, our source material reads like a collection of spooky campfire tales, you know the kind. But if we peel back the layers, it reveals something so much darker about human nature. So let's look at exactly how local folklore is sometimes weaponized to hide unimaginable crimes.
We start off with this terrifying rumor spreading like wildfire through Fateganj. The whispers are absolutely chilling. There is a witch in the village who takes people's eyes. I mean, it sets the perfect stage for a classic ghost story, doesn't it? Just imagine moving to a new village with your family and being explicitly warned to stay inside after dark because of an eye-stealing entity. It preys on our most primal fears. It's the exact kind of myth that guarantees people stay locked inside their homes at night.
All right, moving into Section 1, the eye-stealing witch.
This brings us to our first victim, a young woman named Shalini. Now, Shalini had a habit of taking late-night phone calls out on her balcony, totally ignoring the strict warnings from neighbors to stay inside after 11 p.m. Suddenly, out of nowhere, her terrifying screams wake her sleeping parents. They rush into her room only to discover the absolute unthinkable. Her eyes have literally been stolen. But here's the twist. Instead of just fleeing the village in terror, her parents decide to dig deeper, uncovering a very dark secret hidden out in the woods.
Which leads us to Section 2, the tantric and fake eyes.
Okay, what is just fascinating here is the sheer bravery of Shalini's mother. Refusing to be just another victim, she uses this supernatural myth against the very people controlling it by laying a brilliant trap. Step 1, she physically places fake eyes right over her own. Step 2, she bravely stands completely alone at the village crossroads at 1 a.m. I mean, seriously, how brave is that? Step 3, the so-called witch appears, totally takes the bait, and steals the fake eyes. Secretly, Shalini's parents follow this tricked entity deep into the jungle, straight to a ruined house where a tantric is hiding out.
Realizing that this entity is actually being controlled by a person, they immediately call the authorities. A captured tantric, with a gun to his head, finally confesses the chilling truth. Get this. The witch doesn't steal eyes for dark magic rituals or spooky spells, not at all. She's actually being forced into it to supply a ruthless, incredibly real human organ smuggling ring. Suddenly, we completely shift from a supernatural haunting to a grim, true crime reality. The whole myth was literally just a cover for a lucrative black market.
Well, that massive revelation brings up a really important question for us. We know people use ghosts to hide crimes, right? But what happens when the ghost isn't controlled by a tantric, but is actually created by a profound human tragedy? Let's move to our second story and see how this builds upon that dark theme of medical malpractice and stolen organs.
Let's dig into that in Section 3, Terror of Hospital Road.
All right, so here we meet a guy named Rohan. His car breaks down late at night on this notoriously isolated stretch of road. And according to local legend, a vengeful spirit haunts this exact spot near Manohar Hospital, attempting to rip the hearts straight out of unsuspecting travelers. And guys, it almost happens to him. A dark spirit paralyzes Rohan, getting ready to pull his heart from his chest. Just in the nick of time, his wife Mira and a neighbor show up, splashing holy water to save his life. But it leaves you wondering, doesn't it? Why hearts? And why this specific road?
That brings us right to Section 4, Truth of the Terrifying Past.
To really understand this ghost's violent motives, we have to rewind about 8 years. A newlywed couple gets into a severe car accident and is rushed to Manohar Hospital. Now, the husband is actually still alive, but these incredibly corrupt doctors cunningly declare him dead. Why? So his heart can be illegally extracted and sold off to smugglers. The aftermath of this is just an absolute tragedy. The grieving wife discovers the truth, loses her battle in court, commits suicide, and literally returns as that vengeful spirit targeting that specific road. So the crucial takeaway here is that her rage wasn't born from pure evil. It was born from an unimaginable betrayal by the very people sworn to save lives.
Which perfectly sets up Section 5, the real monsters.
This brings us to the absolute core realization of this whole explainer. Think about it. On one hand, the public is being fed this terrifying myth, malevolent ghosts and witches stealing human organs for dark magic. It keeps everyone scared, ignorant, and looking the other way. But the actual reality? Human traffickers and highly corrupt doctors harvesting body parts for massive financial profit. It becomes painfully clear that all the supernatural elements are merely a smokescreen hiding the monstrous greed of human beings. The tension totally peaks when the tormented spirit bypasses the haunted road entirely and actually possesses Mira's body right inside her own home. Holding a knife, the spirit cries out,
Those doctors snatched my husband from me. She is demanding justice for her murdered husband. 2 of the doctors are already dead at this point, but 3 are still left, desperately protecting themselves with black magic.
So a local tantric is called in to force the spirit out. But Rohan, he actually refuses the violent exorcism. Instead, he listens to the spirit's pain and makes a deal with her. If she leaves his wife's body alone, he will seek lawful justice for her. And he really follows through. Rohan successfully fights the reopened legal case against Manohar Hospital. Those 3 remaining corrupt doctors, they actually received the death penalty for their gruesome crimes. With the truth finally exposed, the spirit finds her peace and vanishes forever. Rohan's actions are proof that the horrors created by human corruption can really only be resolved through human accountability in a court of law.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a really powerful thought from the source material. Perhaps the most terrifying ghost is the human who has lost their humanity. It hits hard, doesn't it? These stories masterfully use the veil of the supernatural to critique very real, very dark crimes happening right in the shadows of our society. So, the very next time you hear a scary story in the dark, pause for a second and ask yourself, who is the real monster here? Is it the ghost haunting the woods, or is it the human greed hiding right behind the myth? Keep questioning what you see, and thank you so much for joining me to figure it out.